Hello, this is Angela Anderson. Thanks for joining me for this acrylic painting tutorial. In this video, we're going to be painting a cute little kitten. I cannot stand it. It's already so cute. Cannot wait to paint this for you guys. And this is our first Christmas one of the season, so yay. I've got my husband Mark with me.
Hey there, everybody.
He's man in chat tonight, so yeah, let's get started. Right, may have to rein me in on the cutes tonight. We'll see. I've got an 8 by 8 inch canvas. Decided to do a little bit smaller just for time reasons. And I've painted it with a very light coat of burnt sienna to start with. All right, let's go over our colors here. So tonight, welcome. Hey, glad you're joining us. I will be painting this straight through from start to finish and show you all the kind of the tips and tricks that I know. I've been painting for about 30 years, and so hopefully I'll be able to pass on some of that do's and don'ts to you. Just don'ts as in don't do this unless you want to spend a lot of time fixing it. Just time savers, and I've made all the mistakes, so I know how to hopefully help you through them. We're also going to be going over some different ways to do fur. So I've got different brushes here. Hopefully you've got at least one of these. Different Stippler, blender. This one's called a dagger striper, a fan brush, or a rake brush. You can see there, this one's called a grainier, but basically it's got a thin, tiny little things here. So one of these will get us some fur. We've also got this one that can also do fur, like a stiff bristled hog hair bristle brush or something like that. As far as for our details go, we will want a round brush for the eyes, nose, and mouth area, and then maybe an angle brush and a liner brush for our whiskers. So I'll be mentioning the brushes more as I use them. Let me go over the colors. Got carbon black, burnt umber, burnt sienna, yellow oxide, pyrrole orange, and quinacridone magenta. I like to mix my own red, but if you want to use a different red, you can grab whatever red you like. This one is Ultramarine Blue, Cobalt Teal, Unbleached Titanium, Titanium White, and some gloss glazing liquid, and that'll just kind of give us some extra blending time with our paints. All right, so to start with, something like this. I've already got the background grounded with a little bit of like a light, almost orangey color, light brownish orange with burnt sienna. So we won't have to do as much on our underlayers, and we can kind of just jump right into the cat. I have the traceable available for this on my website. If you want, it'll be ready tomorrow. So it's not ready tonight, but if you want to paint along with me and download that traceable, and you can just transfer it onto your canvas really easily with some transfer paper. And I've got some down in the description of that. All right, so I'm trying to decide what I want to start on first. I keep changing my brushes here. Okay, I think I'll start with the blender. This is the 3/8 inch blender, and I'm just going to give my cat a little bit of a darker undertone. And then when we put our fur on, we'll have this underneath. It'll show up a little bit better for us. So I've mixed the burnt umber with a little bit of black. And I'm just going to go around kind of the areas of the hat area where I see that there's going to be some shadows on the forehead and things like that. Coming right up to the eyes, over the ears. We've all kind of drawn a cat at some point or another probably. So they're pretty easy. Pretty simple to do. This little kitten, I think the key is just to keep the eyes really big and the rest of the features kind of small. And that gives it that like kitten look. I drew it once and didn't like it too much. Mark in the test. I erased it and redrew it and then made the eyes a lot bigger, and he looked a lot better. So getting some burnt umber and yellow oxide here, and I'm going to kind of use some of that around this area on the cheeks. It's not going to look all that great right now, but I'm just kind of getting in, and really we're gonna make our cat uglier before it looks better. So just kind of know that going in, that it's all part of the process. I swear, I think people see this part of the video and just go, look, nope. Like, she obviously doesn't know what she's doing. That is not a cat.
Wow.
Well, I swear, we'll get you there. And if not, you get to watch an interesting train wreck, right? So just stay tuned either way, and you'll be entertained, I promise.
I will say that the reference cat does look concerned right now.
He's like,
I don't know about this lady.
Not sure about this. Okay. So there we go. And what I'm doing is just looking at the undertones that I'm seeing in our kitten and trying to, these are the colors that I'm seeing kind of in my darkest areas. So in my light areas, I will have some kind of more taupey or yellowish undertones. Even on the white areas around the eye, there's still going to be a little bit of like a mid-tone brown under there, and then that'll make our white part pop out. So I'm going to kind of leave the burnt sienna around the mouth here because I think that'll be dark enough. And just going to go around the bottom of the legs here, little feetsies. And I'm going to just build out my structure. So this arm comes down here in front. This one kind of right up next to it, side by side. Get a little bit of burnt sienna. Put some of that in the middle there. And then I'm actually even seeing a little bit of blue, and that's probably the filter from the photo that I took. I'll put it through a filter, but I'm going to put a little bit of blue right there in that shadow underneath the scarf. Okay, that looks good enough, I think. Again, not going to really look like much yet. I'm going to get a little bit of black. The little tail is black here coming through right here, and then a little bit of paw right here. Okay. And we're done. No. It's like to say that when I first freaked out yet? Are you freaked out yet? Yep. Yep. It's okay. Normal. Let's do the eyes. That'll give us a little bit more less creepiness to look at.
It's like I'm Batman.
Get some ultramarine blue and some cobalt teal. If you don't have cobalt teal, add some yellow to some phthalo blue or phthalo green if you have it, and that'll get you like a cobalt teal color. And by yellow, I mean like a cadmium yellow light or something like that. It'll probably get you the cleanest cobalt. And I'm adding some yellow oxide to get a teal, kind of more greenish color. I might add just a little bit of burnt umber to gray it out just slightly. All right, so we're kind of doing a teal green color for the eyes. There, that's good. That'll be cute. I'm going to add a little bit of white because this is sort of transparent, and so it's not covering very well. There we go. The white will help it cover. This one turned out to look pretty round, but I'll shape it out a little bit better when I add the border of white around it and black. Okay. Let's get some of our black and burnt umber. And I'm using my 4 round. I don't know if I mentioned that, but I'm using the 4 round now when I'm doing the eyes here. Don't think I did. Sorry. I just get going and forget what I'm doing.
No points
You do
deducted yet.
You do get lost painting. It's why it's so therapeutic, you know. All right, so kind of a straight line towards the nose here on either corner, inner corner, the dark line, and then round it out over the top. Getting a little shine here from my lamp, but it's pretty black. And then coming around. And this bottom should be pretty rounded on either side. Like that. Okay. Then let's do the nose. So the top of the nose will be kind of dark. And the nose will fit right between the two eyes. So, and these two little things are going to point right to it. And this, they've got kind of some lines curving around like that. Just going to kind of fuzz those out a little bit. So I've kind of straightened out the cat too. It was kind of looking to this side. I've sort of straightened it out because it makes it easier to paint it if it's sort of straight on to us. So just like that. It's kind of like a T almost, with like a big square block at the top, slightly rounded, and then the bottom part of the T is sort of comes to a little bit of a point at the bottom, or maybe a heart shape, I don't know. Tiny little bit down, and then curving to the side. He's kind of frowny faced. It's okay. Looks good. Okay. Let's give him some pupils. Get the black. And I'm going to curve these just a little bit. And slightly inside center. So you don't want them cross-eyed though, so kind of just keep an eye on that, but that'll make him look like he's looking at us. Kind of bring it in slightly from center. Okay, getting there. And that burnt sienna color is actually pretty good for the nose, but I am going to mix up a little bit of pink, I think. And I like to use magenta and orange to make reds, because I can control how orange or how violet, kind of, magenta-y the reds get. So I might want it a little bit more orange here. A little bit of, kind of probably equal parts, which gives you kind of a good like mid-tone cadmium red medium or something like that. Then you add unbleached titanium to it, which has just a slight yellow undertone. It's made with yellow oxide and burnt sienna with white, so it's these two colors with white makes that one. So get a little bit more burnt sienna here. Just do a little bit darker color on the bottom, and then use that lighter pink at the top.
I've got a question for you.
Okay.
So at what age did you realize that you wanted to study art and be an artist?
I always liked art in high school and junior high. I didn't actually get to do art in classes until 8th grade, I think. So I was probably 12, something like that. Really, did paint by numbers if I could get my hands on them or whatever. But it wasn't until high school I had a really, really good art teacher, and she encouraged me. And so I got a scholarship to college and studied art in college, and only had a 2-year scholarship though, and then it ran out. So anyhow. All right, so I've mixed up some burnt sienna, yellow oxide, and a little bit, I don't know if I used white. I think I used this one, unbleached titanium. So yeah, I've known for a long time. I I really loved it. And in college, I actually got really discouraged, though, because I did not love the painting part. I wanted to paint, and I did not love it because they didn't teach techniques. They just kind of, were like, do what you feel, and I'm like, I'm not that kind of an artist. I gotta have a goal, and it's just me. So I did decorative painting for a long time because I really liked having like a pattern and a set goal in mind, and like actual techniques that I could learn and things like that. So this is mostly the yellow oxide, but I'm just kind of giving it a light. Yeah, this is I'm back to the blender here, the 3/4 inch blender. We're almost to the point where we can start. I'm going to go ahead and do the background, I think, and then we'll do finish up the fur, and I'll show you the different types of fur that you can do. So I think I'm going to go ahead and stick with this brush. It seems like it's working. Actually, no, I think I'm going to switch to a little bit bigger brush and get a... I can find one. There we go. Get a Filbert here. This is a 6 Filbert from the Aspen, Princeton Aspen series, and we'll go ahead and paint the background. So I think I'm going to do mine kind of like, I want it to be sort of wintry, but I also wanted it to have a little bit of that teal color. But I am going to use the teal in my hat, I think. So I might just do the background a little bit like a wintry gray color. I think that'll be good against the color of the cat. So I'm going to get burnt sienna, white, and ultramarine blue. That'll make a nice gray for me. Maybe a little bit on the blue side. And then white. However much white we want. And I'm just going to kind of blend it towards the cat here, where I want it to be fuzzy along the edge. I'm not too worried about the hat. I'll just paint that in. Not good. If we need to later. And again, I'm gonna kind of just cover over where the scarf's gonna be. I don't want to have to paint around that. I'll just paint it in later. It's nice to have like a brush that's got some firmness to it like this one. You can really push that paint down into the canvas and push it around a little bit. Get some nice brush strokes going. Get some more of that gray that I originally made. And I'm going to go over the edge of the fur just a little bit so that I can go over the top of the background with my fur. That'll make my kitty look more fuzzy. I'm going to get that to that point. Getting some of the darker color for the corners. I like to darken up the corners so it feels kind of like enclosed, like a vignette sort of feeling. Just a little bit in the corners. It doesn't have to be a lot, but it kind of gives that, I don't know, it pulls the focus in. All right. So there we go. It's a little bit better. The monitor has still got that weird. It's hard for me to see what I'm doing.
I don't know why it's doing that,
I don't
but
either.
on the video it's clean.
Okay, good. It's throwing me off because I spend a lot of time looking at that to
You just got to
check
cover
my
up
progress and
the rest of that orange first, and then you'll be
I know.
all right.
Yeah. Okay. That's a good idea. Let's just do that. So I'm going to get the Cobalt Teal and some white. And I'm mixing it into that brown, gray, the brown and black color that I had over here from before. I'm going to use that. Might even do a little bit darker teal at first and then put the, yeah, so burnt umber and cobalt teal here. And let's go ahead, and our kitty looks mad right now. He's looking at me, a little angry eyes. I'm gonna fix those. Okay, tapping in. Cobalt teal here.
So if somebody wanted to boost the canvas size up to like a 12 by 12,
Right.
what would they need to do differently?
Not much. I mean, it's going to be pretty similar. The 12 by 12 is not that much bigger, you know, than the 8 by 8 as far as your brushes go. Like if you went to a 24 by 24 or something like that, then I'd say, you know, use like twice the size. But your 12 by 12, you're still going to be pretty good on the brushes that I'm using. You'll be fine. So yeah, I wouldn't worry about it too much. It's only when you go to, you know, massively larger canvases that you really need to size up your brushes. But the techniques are usually the same. It's just the brush size that you need to adjust sometimes. So mixing some burnt umber and ultramarine blue to mix in with that cobalt teal here for this dark smoky blue here, and I'm going to use it sort of in my darker areas right around that ear there where I'm seeing some shadows. Okay, and then let's go ahead and use the white unbleached titanium. I haven't cleaned out my brush, so it's got some of that gray, blue, maybe a little bit more of the burnt umber here, and we'll use that up here. Now I don't want to do too much of this because this is going to be kind of on top of everything, so I'll probably do the fur and then bring this back down over the fur a little bit more. But I just kind of want to start, and I need to kind of round it out up top here. So there we go. Cute. And then we'll do a little ball right here. All right. And then for our scarf, I'm going to get, I think I'm going to put some of this green in our scarf, but it'll be kind of a reddish base. So I'm going to get the burnt umber, burnt sienna, and mix that with my magenta and orange. And I might even use black, but I think I'll just start with this. And black is actually a really good color to use with red to darken it up. It's one of my favorite colors to use to darken up red. It makes a really nice, rich burgundy color. It doesn't change the tone of the red too much. Cute. Okay, and then we'll do our scarf kind of coming out like that from there. Sort of over. Okay, that'll be good.
Already? Man, that's awesome. I knew I'd get to watch Oak Island tonight. You are fast.
All right, so I'm going to let that dry. I'm going to set him aside, and I'm going to get out my little practice sheet here. Actually, let me get out. This is not the one I want. That's my color one. I have one just for practicing different things. Well, here's the one we did with fur. We can do it here. So, I can't remember what tutorial that was, but we've been at the beginning of the year. I can't believe it's already the end of the year. It just does not seem possible. Beginning of the year, we did fur here, and I can't remember what brush I used there. But we're now at the end of the year. Let's go ahead and do just a variety of different fur techniques here. And we'll start with, actually I need a dark color underneath. It'll help us to see what we're doing. So I'm just going to kind of go along here and add some darker color here, which I should have done ahead of time now that I'm thinking about it, because now I'm going to have to wait for this to dry.
You did fur and feathers back on your how to paint the pink flamingo video.
On the flamingo video? That makes sense, yes. Not, the fur not so much, but the feathers definitely. I think I just was trying to find... Okay. This is actually on paper, so it'll dry almost immediately, which is to our benefit. Okay. So... we'll do a grainier fan, Deerfoot Stippler, blender, which is what I've been using, hog or aspen, and then a dagger, striper, and I ran, okay, those are probably way too close together, we'll see, okay. I may end up having to put little arrows here, we'll see. All right, so grainier, it's our first one here. This one's very thin, so if you're using this to do fur, you're going to need to add a lot of water to your paint. The brushes that you'll need to add water to your paint are the fan and the grainier, because they're both very thin brushes, and you can kind of see if they're super fine thin and they don't have any like bulk to really hold that paint and push it around, you're going to need to thin out your paint. So here's the grainier, thin paint, and keep the paint just on the tip if you can. So when you load it, kind of press it through. I didn't load it very well right there. You can see what happened when I loaded it too thick. Press it through, and you're going to, I'll start at the bottom and overlap. Okay, so there's our grainier. Very fine hairs. It's a great brush to use for fur. And I'm going to use the same paint for my fan. I'm just using a lighter paint here. I'm going to be the same way, but this is going to be a little thicker and maybe a little bit more difficult to control as far as like hiding our overlapping brush strokes. But still does a decent job, and if you don't have anything else, it'll do in a pinch. And I would need more layers in that, obviously, to get it to show up a little bit more. Maybe add a little bit of white here. And what we talked about with the glazed and not glazed is you can see the difference that it makes when you do a little bit of a light wash of a darker color over the top after you do your fur. You can get much more natural looking blending of the fur. So that's what I would do on our kitty cat too. There we go. So see, not too bad. Not too bad. All right, Deerfoot Stippler. This is the one I'm thinking I might use tonight. And what I'll do is load it just on the tip here and pull down with it. I don't know if I'm loving that. I can use thicker paint with this one too, because it's a little bit more sturdy, you know. But you're still going to get a little bit of clumpiness maybe. I don't know. This one still looks the cleanest to me. This one maybe not so great. Okay, yeah, I'm not loving that. I think maybe if if I thinned out my paint, it might have been better than trying to do it thick. So the blender, let's do that, and let's use the kind of a little bit thinned out paint here. And see, this is one that I do a lot for like short hairs. With longer hairs, you kind of need the longer bristles, but for the blender works great for short bristles, and even some longer bristles. You know, it just depends on what you're doing, but you get the idea here. A little chunkier, a little bit more uneven application, but I actually kind of like it. And then what I end up doing usually is I'll do this because it holds more paint, and so I can go faster and I can do a larger area with it. Then I'll come back and use like the grainier or a liner brush to add the fine details. Oh, that's right, I can add a liner brush here. Hog bristle.
I'm glad that you like the
Aspen.
chunky, uneven things more.
Exactly. You can see this actually works pretty good. I like and I've used this, like I think when I did my leopard painting with my patrons, I used this brush for a lot of it because it had a lot of spots, and so it was easier to get in and like go in and do these little spots and things. So I actually might use this one tonight, the hog bristle, kind of faux hog aspen brush. And again, if you want the finer hairs, you can go over them later. But the thing with this one is you're going to have to reload almost after every line or so, because it doesn't hold a lot of paint. So the grainiers are great, but they are limited in how much paint they can hold. Okay, here's the dagger striper. Now this isn't one that I usually pull to use for this, but I've seen other artists use it. So I'm going to try to do it and see if I can get the right technique with it. But basically you kind of press it so that it fans out, and press it really hard so that it kind of does that fan blade. And then, ooh, look at that. That's nice. Yeah, that's actually working pretty good. It's given me kind of a line there, so I think maybe might be better for like something like feathers, where it looks, where you have like a clump, you know, a feather that's like clumped together, that it looks more like feathers than fur to me. But, and then you can use the bladed end for individual lines too, which is nice. So you can kind of switch back and forth between the flat edge and the bladed edge and get lines and fur. So that's actually really nice. That's a dark dagger striper. Okay.
Real quick on the aspen line.
Let me do one more layer on the aspen to show you kind of how it would look with a second coat, because I feel like it's not giving it enough definition there. What on the aspen? What about it?
Yeah, are they all hog bristle?
They're not hog bristle. They're they're synthetic hog,
Okay.
so they're better because they don't get soggy in water. Real hog bristles get soggy in water. They're a lot cheaper. This is real hog bristle here, but if I left it in my water for too long, it just deflates. You know, it doesn't hold its shape anymore.
So that's where fake bacon comes from too, huh?
Here, let's use an angle brush. I'll use an angle and then a liner to end it. Okay. So lots of different ways. The angle brush will be similar in some ways to the dagger striper, I think. You kind of have to load it in a way that makes the bristles fuzz out a little bit, and actually save your old angle brushes for this very thing, because they work great when they're a little bit old and fuzzy and they, you know, start to fray a little bit. But they do make nice hair, and they make great clumps. So like when I want maybe a thicker application of paint, isn't that nice? Like, it looks pretty good. I like it. And I actually might use this on my cat too. It's faster. I don't know, I haven't decided. Decisions. I want to go fast though. I don't want to take too long. We're already. And then the liner. So the liner is obviously another option. It's going to take a whole lot longer because you're going to have to layer in, you know, by hand, but it's definitely a precision control. You know, you're going to have exactly what you want, where you want it with a liner brush. And the key with the liner brush, as with these two, is adding lots of water to your paint. So here's our lineup. So we had the grainier. Ignore this part because I kind of had my brush loaded wrong here, but there. Then the fan brush, which a little harder to control, but you still get a good, decent, like, you know, fur-like texture. Deerfoot Stippler, I didn't do a good job. I think it could do better, but I didn't do a good job of showing it because I was using, I think my paint was too thick. Blender. So very kind of similar to the fan brush in look, and the same with the Hog Aspen. So all three of these will probably, you know, do. And these two especially are going to go fast. Like you're going to be able to load up a lot of paint and get it down quickly. The Dagger Striper, really, really cool effect. Maybe a little bit better for feathers than fur. Angle brush and then liner. So.
And real quick on the Aspen one, which Aspen brush did you use?
The number 2 bright.
Number 2 bright.
Number
okay,
2
thank
bright.
you.
Yeah, I'll write that all down and I'll post that with the online so you guys can
Perfect.
see it
You're awesome.
when I post the picture of the cap. But just give you an extra idea of some other, you know, you can see there's multiple ways of approaching fur. So if you don't have the exact brush that I'm using, do not despair. Just use what you've got, you know. Surely you've got at least one of those brushes, hopefully. Fingers crossed. Okay. I think I'm going to use my angle brush. I think I'll be able to do. I'm going to use the angle brush because I can kind of control it. And I think I want my kitty fur to be a little clumpy. And then I can go back in with the liner or the grainier if I want it to be a little bit more controlled. So I'm getting a little bit of black, a little bit of burnt umber here, and I'm just going to kind of clean up the ears. And I'm going deliberately a little bit messy with my brush strokes so that they look kind of painterly, but this is going to be sort of what my fur is in these areas now. So I want to be going where my detail is and not just I'm not just adding under layers. This is my top layers now that I'm doing. So I want to go over the top of my outline area here so that I have kind of some fuzziness around the edge of my kitty. I'm going to add a little bit darker in the middle of the ear here and here because I'm going to put that lighter color inside.
Do you want me to sing some Christmas songs in the background just to get you in the mood?
It feels like Christmas. I had high hopes of putting up our Christmas tree this weekend, and then I sprained my calf at my granddaughter's first birthday party.
Yes.
I wasn't even doing anything. Like, that's the sad thing.
You were helping set up the food.
I was helping set up the food, and I must have turned wrong or did something, stepped wrong, and so been babying it all week.
We forget that we have to stretch before we do simple things.
Exactly. And then we were doing everything wrong for it. It's like massaging it, putting hot on it, stretching it, like doing all the wrong things. So it's just like so much worse now than it was last weekend. I'm like, oh. So I finally read what I'm supposed to do. I've never had this before, so I mean, at least not for a long time. I've done it to my back a long time ago, but when I was carrying my little ones around all the time. Oh, well, yeah, it's fun getting old. So Christmas is waiting. It'll probably be.
And, you know, people are like, Christmas tree already? Well, your schedule is so packed with
Oh, gosh.
videos and everything that you're doing. And then it's Thanksgiving and then it's Christmas. And
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
if we have a free weekend or a free quote unquote
Anytime.
block of days,
Yeah, before Thanksgiving,
we try to
get
take
it.
advantage of it.
Yep. Yeah,
So-
if I don't do it before Thanksgiving, it's not getting done for 2 weeks.
Well, yeah, because like last year, the tree went up
And it didn't.
and
have
then it
anything
sat undecorated for almost 2 weeks.
on. Yeah, it did.
It's like
Yeah.
we missed the window.
Yeah, it did.
Closed
We
real
were
fast.
trying to get ahead of it this week, and then I did this to myself. All right, so I've mixed up more of that nose color, the burnt sienna, these two colors, yellow or the orange and magenta, and some unbleached titanium. I didn't want to not tell you what I was doing here. So just going to do that on the top of the nose there. Give it a little highlight. Get a little bit of the darker tone for underneath the sides and kind of under the mouth area, and then a little bit in the ears. There's just a little bit of a pinkish tone in there in the thin areas, just a slight little bit. All right, that'll be good. Let's get some white. And I'm going to go around the eyes. Just use the kind of bladed end of my brush to kind of create the little fur texture. So he's got tiger eyes. He's got that white around all the predator eyes have that white around them to help them see in the savannah. So he's a little mighty hunter, just like his bigger kitty cousins.
So we have talked about this before when you were doing other animal eyes, but the predators typically will have vertical pupils, and the prey will have horizontal pupils. And it's so that with the vertical pupils that they can accurately judge distance better and have a good sharp focus across the horizontal plane. And then the prey don't have as good as eyesight, but the peripheral vision is much wider, so
better.
they can see things trying to sneak up on them.
Got it.
And then us humans, we have round, so we just...
And the predators have their eyes focused toward in the front, and the prey have them on the sides to see more. Their eyes actually don't focus straight ahead of them. I don't think that they actually... Yeah, they have to turn their head.
I see. So mine are in front, but they're round. So what does that make me?
I don't know. All right, so there we go. We've got the eyes around, the white around the eyes. Let's put it around the muzzle here. Kind of around the mouth and down. Leave a little bit of that burnt sienna around just to kind of transition up to the darkest part of the mouth there in the middle. Just keep him from looking so frowny. Yeah, that looks good. He looks like he's got a little bit of a Santa beard right now. Cute. Round it out here. And then give him the little Santa beard. Okay, looks good. Let's get some yellow going. And yellow oxide, some unbleached titanium white, and I'm going to kind of transition now from that white. I just did the whitest areas. I think I'm going to switch to a smaller brush because I'm having a hard time kind of controlling going around the corners. So I think I'm going to try the hog bristle. We'll see how it does. But I think I want a little bit more of kind of a golden ochre. So I'm going to get the yellow oxide and the burnt sienna with that color and kind of mix a mid-tone here and do a little bit of a, yeah, that's better, like a little bit of a orangey tone around the face here. Much better. You can see if I just kind of make sure that my ending brush strokes here are sort of facing out the right direction, I'll get that kind of fuzzy feel that I want. Kind of go over my white just a little bit, and then I'll go back over it again with my... All right, we're gonna get there. I promise you, we're almost... It's amazing. Fur is one of those things that's just like, nope, nope, nope. And then all of a sudden it's like, oh, there it is. You know, you just have to layer it. You just have to kind of trust that layering process, that we're building layers and we're working towards resolving the shapes and things.
Mm-hmm.
But at first it just looks like you're just not making any progress at all. But just take your time, build those layers up slowly. We'll get it there. Getting that white here. Okay. He's cute. I'm going to mix up some gray with my burnt umber and ultramarine blue. Let me spray all this down so I don't... not working with dried out paint. Okay, get some white, and so I'm going to make kind of a gray, mid to dark tone gray here to use in some of this area kind of around the white, and transitioning up here, there's some little stripies that are happening. It's just got all kinds of different colors in his little fur here. And this is also kind of the color that we used on the background here, so it'll tie it in with our kitty. Okay, we're almost there with him. Get that darker color kind of under his chin where it goes down into the scarf there. And then I need to kind of work on the angry eyebrows here. So get some white here and just sort of I have too much paint on my brush here. Just wiping that paint out and pushing it around. It was kind of soupy from where I sprayed it. There we go. Get a little bit more of that white. And go the eyes again, but kind of tap it this time so it's not so perfect. A little bit of a... He still looks angry. I think it's because this comes up. I'm going to bring it down a little bit. There we go. That's helping. Not looking so angry now. Okay. It's amazing with animals and things like this, like the tiniest little shift in angle can really make a difference in the expression. So there we go. Opening that up a little bit. Cute. The eyes are still not quite right, so he's not super cute yet, but we'll get him there. Let's go ahead and work on those eyes. So I'm going to get some of the Ultramarine Blue and Teal. A little bit of the burnt sienna to tone it down. Going a little bit more blue with it this time. This is kind of a stocking color. Very similar. And then get my white. I wiped out most of this color, so there's just a very little bit of it in here. And I'm going to use that and just kind of lightly dry brush over. Kind of at the bottom of the eye. And kind of make it sparkle a little bit. Okay, and then get the white on the tip of the brush and put our couple little highlights. That was wet. Let's try that again. My white was wet. There we go. He looks a little cross-eyed.
No.
Not too bad. Okay. And then I can come back in with the black and clean up, give him a little bit more of a angle here if I want to straighten that out. Also above the eye, darken that up a little bit. Kind of clean up around it. All right, much cuter. Let's get some of that burnt umber, burnt sienna, and put in the rest of the mouth there. And any other small little details that I want with the fur, I might kind of just add some little brush strokes around. Instead of that liner brush, using this brush will work just fine. Like that. Okay, then let's get I'm going to get the green ear and use that for the ear hairs because they're so fine. How are we doing on time? Oh, we're great. We are golden. Mark, give me
You are awesome.
deadline.
We've been practicing all summer for this.
Oak Island season starts tonight.
So, I mean, and tonight you have kind of a bye because, unfortunately, I think they're just going to recap the previous
right, and nothing new is going to actually happen.
Right, only the last 10 minutes will be something new. So,
right,
it's not as urgent.
Okay, I'm going to start here and just pull some long. And I'm already kind of out of color. So I used just kind of the burnt sienna, or I'm sorry, burnt umber and black with my white here to get this light gray for this. So, oh, see that? I used the corner of that and it did it too much. See, I did that on the example too, if you remember. So I need to be careful not to press down too hard. If I press down too hard, that's what gives me those huge, long, thick lines, which I don't want. Okay, that's better. Come on. Like it doesn't want to come off all of a sudden. Okay. This is where I can kind of add more little fuzzies to different parts of my kitty too, if I want. Cute. Here, I feel like the ears are too pointy. Yeah, they're way too pointy. They're like little bat ears, so I need to round those out. I don't know what I was thinking there. They're way more rounded. There, let's round those off. This one's a little bit more pointy because it's kind of pointing away from us a little bit, but even it, I think, is a little too long, maybe. Get some of that. Give it a second coat, that background color. Round it out, and then on that hat, it's kind of this color with a little bit more of the burnt umber and unbleached titanium. I'm going to round out that kitty ear there. Okay, much better. Give that a second coat on the hat too. Cute. Get a little bit of the pink. Put a little bit of the pink kind of around the mouth a little bit. And that'll soften up that frowny face too a little bit. Kind of bring it up slightly. Get some white. Okay. Put our whiskers in through here, so let's go ahead and get the black and put the little dots for the whiskers to go. They'll be kind of along here. Made them a little bit too heavy there. You can always kind of use your finger to sort of dab off if you get it too thick. Okay, there we go. But I don't want to do the whiskers yet. I need to do the rest of the kitty fur and then come back to it. So I'm going to go back to this brush, the Aspen, and put in my fur and go ahead and kind of go over the edge there. So I get a little fuzzy edge on my kitty. Get a little bit of the burnt sienna and yellow oxide with the burnt umber here. Use that sort of mid-tone color. And then get some of the white and mix that in with this. And use that on the kitty paws. I'm not having to do a whole lot to indicate the little paws. You just kind of have to leave the dark in between the toes, you know, and then brush it out. Now, if it's not looking like you want it to, we can always go back in and add more dark in between. You know, if it's not dark enough in between, you may not have it looking quite the way you want it to, so. I'm kind of being a little bit fast and sloppy with this, but you're getting the idea. picking up a little bit of that darker color, which I don't mind. Okay. So I need to match up the colors. Right now, this doesn't look like it goes with the cat up here, so need to use that same. And I probably should have, while I was doing the upper part, done some of this bottom part too at the same time. I kind of got caught up in getting the face done, but you know, using some of this orangey yellow that I have up in here. And then putting it down here too. Will look like they're more connected, part of the same kitty. And I'm kind of putting them on a little bit thick right here. So we need to kind of be a little bit more selective, maybe switch brushes. I'm kind of turning it on its side now so I can get some finer little white hairs here, and this will help a lot. Using this white on the front of the legs here, it'll bring that part forward. And you know, any clumpiness you can always just kind of go back over with either your darker color or your lighter color, depending on what, you know, the color of the clumpiness was. If it need, you know, if you need more value definition, you may have to go back in and put some more dark colors back in. If you've, you know, sometimes when you get all of your lighter colors on, you end up sort of losing your depth if you add too much light and there's no dark colors left, you know. So just take it slow. Again, do your layers in stages. You can see how I'm doing mine. Just yours will come out different because you'll be using different brushes maybe, and different, you know, heaviness to your paint depending on how you're loading your brush and everything. So just kind of take your time. Try to build up your layers slowly. I'm going to kind of darken up underneath my kitty's paws so that they're not disappearing against that background color, which is pretty similar to them. Give it a little bit of a shadow even maybe. He's got his little tail kind of tucked up next to him right here. Make it a little bit bigger than the picture. I made it dark, but I'll probably add a little bit of the lighter color on top of it. You don't want it to be the only black thing in the, you know, whole thing. Right now it's kind of standing out a little bit. And I'm going to go ahead and darken up kind of right where that scarf comes down. How's everybody doing?
I think they're doing good.
Finally asked.
An hour.
Came up for breath.
That's okay. You're focused.
Yes. I've got a mission. Trying to get this done in under 2 hours. Go. I think I took... Brennan posted the picture of the other winter kitty that I did for our bonus video I guess it was 2020, which feels like longer than that, but he must know. And I think that took me like 3-4 hours. So it's like, I better paint like the wind. That's why I started out. Normally I would kind of try to show you how to draw it at least a little bit, but I knew that was going to take another half an hour at least, so I apologize, but I did not have time for it tonight. Not if I wanted to get out of here before Mark's bedtime. Okay, so adding kind of that orangey color to the tips of the paws a little bit. Add a little bit more of it to the cheeks here to really warm them up. Oh, he's cute. He's cute. Okay, let's get a little bit of the black. I'm gonna kind of add black and burnt umber here. Just a little bit of definition to the paws here. Okay, and then get that white and a little bit of that yellowish, burnt sienna yellow color. I'm going to kind of go over define those legs a little bit better. I kind of have a weird shape to the legs right now. I feel like I need to round out that paw right there. I'm going to bring that dark brown up a little bit more right here. Just kind of defining the kitty shape with the different tones in the fur. So these stripes will help define the shapes a little bit if I put them in the right place. There we go. Oh, cute. Yeah, I think we're getting it there. Getting closer. Again, I don't have to be perfect. We're just kind of trying to get the essence of the kitty here. So this is not going to be photorealistic, and we don't need it to be to get it a decent painting. Just kind of doing in sort of a more painterly style tonight. I mean, I'm going to get it as close as I can to realistic in the time that we have. Just say that. Okay, so I kind of lost that color, the definition between the two paws. So I'm just going to kind of get my darker color and sort of put that back in. Right there. Oh, that's much better. And right here, coming up, there's the stripe. a little bit of a shadow right at the top of the paws that comes across. That'll kind of help define them. It's really important right there. That flattens them out a little bit. All right, and then let's go ahead and get the, ooh. Let's go ahead and get paint all over the handle of that brush. Again, adding lots of water so that my paint is fluid. Getting the white and the unbleached titanium here with the grainier. And I'll just use that to do some of the final little floof. This will really give it that floofiness, more detail. Okay. Okay, so let's go ahead and finish up our little scarf and things and we'll be done. So I'm going to get the blender and my Cobalt Teal, and I'm just going to go in and put in some brighter highlights with this. And then get the white and a little bit of that Cobalt Teal. And just dabbing it on and moving it as I dab it so that it's not getting too fussy. And then I'm going to come back in with a little bit more of that Cobalt Teal and sort of just blend it in a little bit here and there. Trying to make it look a little fluffy. Get a little bit of the burnt umber and blue and teal. That was that darker tone. Put a little bit of that in there. Got it on my kitty ear, but I'm just going to kind of wipe that off of the ear. And if you need to, you can go back in with a little bit of the black or something and just kind of tidy it up where it goes over too much, if you need to. Okay. I don't like how it comes out over the ear right here. I think I want it to come out this way a little bit more before it goes over. I feel like it needs to come up, like be highest right in here. Maybe. I don't know. Alright, let's try it with the white here. So there's a little bit of yellow at the very top of the white area. So I'm going to get that unbleached or the yellow oxide and just dab it. Cute. Now I think I'm gonna put some, like as if it's coming down over here too, because I feel like it probably would come around that corner just a little bit, maybe. What do you think? No? Yay, nay? Just a little bit right there.
Yeah, just a little bit.
Little tiny peak. And now get the white. Just tappa with the white.
Got a question about your brushes.
Okay.
But how often do you have to replace your brushes?
Probably, depending on the brush, things like liner brushes and thinner brushes like the angle brushes and these rounds, smaller rounds and things where I'm using them a lot and getting the paint up here and having to clean them out really well. If I don't clean them even one time just right, it'll ruin them, which happens, you know. So them, I probably every 3-4 months, something like that, and then, but I'll probably go through 2 to 3 of these angle brushes in a year, of both sizes. Same thing with my rounds in all sizes, and the brushes like these that I can, you know, that can take a little bit more abuse will last longer. The blenders last forever. In fact, I don't even really clean them very well because they kind of are, I like them better as they start to fray and do like that, you know. So yeah, it depends on the brush, but yeah, the ones, and the larger flat ones last a long time. It's just the finer the brush, the shorter the life. Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna get some of the red, a little bit of black, so magenta, black, a little bit of the orange here. And I'm making a dark red. I'm gonna use that in my scarf here to kind of sort of where the folds are. Right in there. And then maybe a little bit down here. And you can see I'm letting it kind of drag and dry brush toward the end, so it's not a perfect line. Not blending it really, just sort of letting it do its thing. Getting a little bit more of that orangey red, and I can kind of come through and give it a second coat of a little bit brighter red. And then let's go ahead and use some of our teal. I'm going to get my 2 bright with that teal from the hat, adding a little bit of the white to it, a little bit of the Ultramarine Blue. And I'm just going to kind of do sort of the indication of some, you know, like design here, just by kind of repeating like little dabs all the way across. So it doesn't have to be any particular design, but just kind of trying to create a little bit of a pattern looking. It's amazing what your eyes will do. You kind of draw the person in to be a participant in the design process when you paint like this, because you're not actually putting everything out there in front of them. You're inviting the person to draw their own conclusions about the pattern. Getting the white and unbleached titanium. A little bit of V shapes here, maybe. Cute. All right, and then on our kitty, our stocking cap, we can maybe put some brighter dabs of white if we need to, but we can also like make a little pattern on there. Maybe it's got some stripes or something. And follow the curves that you're seeing. So if you're seeing a fold or something like that, make sure you're folding your I don't know if I love that, but you don't know until you try. And you can always paint over it if you don't like it. I'm going to paint over some of that. Just going to soften it up a little bit. I feel like I kind of went a little too literal with it, a little too much. So I'm just going to kind of mess it up so that it sort of indicates stripes but doesn't really show all the stripe. Again, kind of letting your brain, your eyes sort of fill in the dots for us. Getting some of that darker teal for down in here. I want to go a little bit darker right here. I just feel like it's not quite dark enough. So I'm going to get a little bit of black with my ultramarine blue and just right here go really dark. I feel like there's kind of a crease right here, right above the ear. Maybe a little bit over here too. Okay, let's use some of this color in this scarf too, because that'll pull that color story down here too. Cute. Okay, so I need to do something with the background. I think it's a little too plain. We've got a little bit of time, so I think I'm going to make some greens and do like a little bit of maybe a Christmas tree type of, not a Christmas tree, but you know, like I'm not painting a Christmas tree, obviously, but I'm going to kind of maybe put some branches or something back here that indicates there's some stuff going on back here. Just some little greenery. Maybe on either side. Maybe he's sitting under the tree like our Cashmere used to do. Gonna miss having her around this Christmas. She just passed, so it's been rough because she's been our kitty for a long time, so we miss her a lot. I'm sure we've gotten a lot of really sweet messages from everybody about it. So thank you all. I know you're going to miss her too. We mentioned her a lot on the show. So this one's dedicated to Cashmere, even though it's not a white kitty. But when we first got her, she was so small you could hold her in one palm. She was abandoned and covered with fleas. I mean, and just so little, she was still suckling everything, you know, like trying to suckle, and the only thing she could eat was yogurt. So which was probably not good for her, but you know, that's what she wanted. So we're just trying to keep her alive at that point. And had to give her a bath in the sink to get all the fleas off of her because she was so little you couldn't even give her the tick medicine. You know, she was too little for it.
And she remembered that.
And she did. She did not forgive me for years. Like, literally would not let me hold her or pick her up for years. I'm not kidding. She held a grudge for a good 10 years, I think. Really wasn't until Nathan and Jordan left the house that she started being nice to me. It's okay. I understood.
She got over it.
She got over it. She was a great cat. She could definitely hold a grudge. Yeah, this is cute. I think you could even take it further and put ornaments or whatever you wanted on this. I think I'm going to use this brush. So the dagger striper will give me a little bit better control here. I'm not getting quite the color I want out of this. I don't have the right colors for like a bright green, but I'm going to use some of this yellow with my teal.
Do we remember how old she was?
She was 16,
16
when she passed. Yeah, she was 16. She was an old girl. She was having too many health issues at the end, and she got dementia, and she was starting to cry out at night and be lost, and it was just too sad seeing her that way.
Yep.
So we just had to do what was right, but it was really hard on all of us.
All right, let's move on.
Yeah, no, talk about it. I don't know why I'm painting a cat this soon after. I think it's therapeutic, though. You know.
Well, we are missing one of my favorite things.
Which is what?
Whiskers on kittens.
Thank you. Yes, thank you. Okay. Whoever reminded Mark there.
It was me.
Oh, you did? Okay.
Because these are a few of my favorite things.
Well, I thought for sure somebody from the audience was letting me know.
Wow.
No, I mean, I'm just saying everybody's good to do that.
Are you saying that I can't think on my own?
Not at all.
I mean, you have known me for many years, so that's a good assumption. For sure. I don't blame you for thinking that.
No, I just know that I have done stuff like that in the past, and there was always somebody from the audience that made sure that I remembered. But thank you, honey. Good.
You're welcome.
Good job. Getting a little bit of white here, and I'm going to put a little highlight on the nose. Dook. Right there. I'll give it a little brightness, and then I'm going to get my liner brush. This is a 2 script liner. I never did use my glaze. Script liner, lots of water. I'll add a little bit of glaze. The glaze will help it stick. Now this canvas is slightly textured, so it's not going to do a great job. I need to decide also, I didn't do any, I'm going to do a little bit of highlights on my scarf. I didn't do any highlights on I like to do three layers of values on everything, you know, and so we had the mid-tone red and the dark, but I want a light tone red, so I'm going to add a little bit of that, and I should have done this before I did my details, which I didn't think that through very well, but we'll just kind of try to stick them in there in between. Just a little bit of highlight there. Yeah, that helps bring it out a little bit. We can make it look a little bit more highlighted on top there. Where the light's hitting it, bring it around, get a little bit of white even. Definitely, there we go. Definitely went over all my design there, which I don't like. Okay, yeah, do that first. I just forgot. And we'll use the glaze to add just a little bit of, got the blue and the black here. Ultramarine blue and black. I'm gonna glaze on my stocking cap, like at the very bottom and around the ears here where it kind of curves down and underneath the ball there. That'll define it a little bit better. All right, whiskers. Now this brush is great because you can get long lines. You just have to hold it so that just the tip is barely touching, and then make sure that you can just pull it down to where you want it to go. So, and the thing with whiskers or any kind of hairs like these is to crisscross them. If you have them all lined up perfectly and evenly, it's going to look uneven, or it's going to look odd. So make sure you have the odd one just kind of shooting off into space in the wrong direction. It'll make it look much more natural. Start at our little dots that we did before, kind of right up by the mouth there, and smaller ones kind of come almost straight down. Some of them, make sure they go all the way to the mouth though. All right, much better. And then they often will have little ones right here, up here. So you can do some right off the forehead. And I'm going to do some more in the ear because my ears didn't, they're kind of gray. So I'm going to do some white ones there to
I know a thing about ear hairs myself.
Huh?
I know a thing about ear hairs myself.
You know a thing or two about ear hair?
Yeah. It's interesting.
If you want to do anything to the end of the scarf, I'm just kind of leaving it a little bit raggedy like that. I think it's cute. You could put little red things. I think I'm going to splatter it with some snow, maybe put a couple of snowflakes. I feel like I kind of want a little... What time is it? Okay, I'm just watching the time here. I'm going to put in as much as I can in the time we have. So, not that we have to end it at a certain time, but let's go ahead and give it a little bit of a shadow too, because I feel like it looks like it's kind of just sitting there. So let's get some of this dark brown, and I'm just going to kind of add a little bit of a shadow sort of to the side and underneath. You can also mix up, like maybe get some of that background color and mix up a little bit darker version of it and use that instead, as so if you want like a more of a solid color, you can do that. So that's what I'm doing here, is kind of like more of a solid. And then I'm just going to use my finger and kind of press it around, move it around until it looks good to me. Make sure that you don't get into any areas that are drying, otherwise you'll just kind of create some weird streaks and things. It's starting to dry right there. I don't know if I like, that's not dark enough. I think I need a little bit darker. I'm going to go a little bit darker with the burnt umber. There we go. And depending on how much shadow you want to put, you can make it go out quite a ways, or just a little bit around the body, however you want to do it. And then we could use this glaze to shadow on top of our kitty too, so get some of that burnt umber and maybe shadow where the overlaps are. If you've got any kind of weird transitions that look a little bit odd, you can kind of add a little bit of it there. It always kind of just helps sort of tone everything. Cute little kitty. I'm gonna put a little bit around the mouth here, just to kind of above and below the mouth, right along either side of the line. Oh, he's cute. He's cute. I think I want a little bit of a lighter tone down here, so we get a little bit of white, a little bit of that color I was using there, and just maybe like I don't have a transition between the dark and the light here at all, which is fine, but
this is where you start looking now at the details that will just make it pop and pull it all together.
Right. Yeah, I'm going to get some white here with my fan brush. Get some of that thinned out paint that I was using for the whiskers, and I'm just going to give it some snow. And I definitely think that a couple of little ornaments would be cute. I have plenty of ornament tutorials, so you could pull one of those and, you know, do something from one of those over here. You know, leave yourself some room for it. I think I'm going to do a couple of little snowflakey type things, maybe. Now, this kind of brings it out of the realistic, though. So, you know, this feels a little bit more vintagey, you know, kitty, which is kind of the vibe that I was wanting to go for anyways. So, like a, you know, vintage Christmas card kitty kind of look. With the colors and everything, that teal is such a, you know, like a popular color for the vintage era, 50s, 60s. So something like that. Maybe one down here. That's a little smaller. Don't know why I'm whispering.
Snowflakes startle very easily, so.
You have to whisper.
Yes.
And kittens too, so. I am going to get my Q-tip and do some bigger snowflakes with Q-tip. Add a little bit of water, so they're just the bigger. You want them transparent looking, otherwise they'll kind of be like, whoa, big, huge blobs everywhere. But if you kind of keep them sort of transparent, like they look like bigger snowflakes that are just closer to us, and make sure that I'm kind of getting some of them a little close together, randomly space them so that they're not too obvious. Just put a few little sparklies down here, and yeah, I think that's pretty cute. I'm pretty happy with that, I think. I think the hat's maybe a little bit bright, but on the whole, I like it. I'm gonna maybe I used a ton of brushes. That's only because I was showing you. I don't think you'll need that many. I'm gonna maybe do a little bit more of the red here, like the mid-tone red. Oops, got a little bit of blue in there. If you've got anything left, I'm just gonna be fiddling with it. I'll sign it.
Well, yeah,
too.
okay. We got some super chat.
We do.
We do.
What?
Since it's the
Christmas
season, we'll
I
bring
like
out the
it. I
jingle
like
bells.
it. Yay.
Yeah.
I'm gonna put a few red dots in my hat. I think that'll tie it together better. Go. Sorry.
All right. The first one was from Cindy, and it was just a lemon character holding his hands with gratitude on his face.
Oh, yay.
I love these descriptive ones.
I know.
There was no words. And then we have, again from Cindy,
Oh.
a parrot character jumping up and down saying #1 fan. So thank you two times,
Thank you, Cindy.
Cindy.
Wow.
That's awesome. And then we have one from Pat, and Pat says, "Thank you, Angela, for this cute kitty and starting the holiday season off for us."
You're welcome, Pat. Yeah, I'm so excited. I've got I decided last year I kind of ran out of time to do Christmas stuff because I started too late. So I was like, I'm just starting up first thing in November this year. I kind of didn't get a lot of fall in. I probably should have started it back in August instead of September. So I got 1 month of fall, but we're just gonna do 2 months of Christmas.
There you go. We're going to do some makeup work.
Yeah, exactly. I love it so much. I look forward to it every year, all year long. So why not, right? We're just gonna jump right in and do some fun, lots of fun Christmas things with you guys this season. So hope you'll join us on Tuesday nights throughout the fall and Christmas season. We're we're not taking any weeks off. We're going right through, right? Yeah. We're not taking any.
You're making me work Thanksgiving.
I am making work Thanksgiving week.
Thanks
He's
a
got
lot.
the week off from work.
My other job,
His other job, but
not here.
Not me.
No, thanks.
I'm a slave driver.
You are. But if you're watching this during the holiday season this year, brushes and the other paint things are great Christmas gifts and stocking stuffers. So
Yes,
there's
I actually will be doing. I think maybe. Well, I would be recording it this week, and I'm not sure when the podcast will come out, but I'll be doing a guest spot on a podcast, Art Supply Insiders, I think it's called. Anyhow, guys that used to own the Brush Guys, they have a podcast now. I've done one other thing with them, but this time I'm going to be talking about what is like the bare minimum I would buy for somebody just starting out painting with acrylics. So I'm going to use this little gold to just put in some little
gold
sparkle in my
and dabs.
Yeah. Back into the brush makes perfect dots. This is an old trick from my decorative painting days. So.
But yes. And so also we got the thankful art we didn't really go over your Patreon page, but
Yes, I will do. I will have the traceable. I'll draw it out from this. I usually like to wait and do it from the actual finished painting. So I'll be making that, and we'll be posting that on my website. And you can sign up for the newsletter at my website there, thankfulart.com. And also, if you want the traceable, you can sign up for that there at the website. It'll take you to Patreon where you sign up, and then you go back to the website to download it. I know it's like an extra weird step, but the website has everything.
Yes.
It's very easy to use. And once you sign up with Patreon, you just link it to the website, and there's a little login up at the upper corner of the website where you can link your Patreon account. And
thank you for all the supporters out there.
Yes.
On Patreon, you guys are amazing.
Amazing Patreon supporters. Yes. And we are going to be working on what are we doing?
You're
for
doing
our
the
bonus
streets
video?
of the bonus video?
Yeah, I'm working on a street scene, Christmas street scene for the challenge video. That's that one, which this is the first part, so we're not quite but it'll have a big Christmas tree and it'll all be nighttime lit up. And then the bonus video.
Bird and the candle.
Oh yes, burn it in candle with a lantern. So that'll be our bonus video for this month. So.
And I found that out
And that's
because
the $5 level.
because I got the email.
Oh yes, yeah. So the schedule just came out. If you want to look at that, you can go to the discussion tab on my channel page. It has the schedule. Also at the top of all my social media posts, the schedule is posted there every month, so you can see all of the paintings, including the Patreon ones that we'll be doing this month. So. And that's just a teaser because we've got a lot more fun stuff coming up in December too. But this is just November, so we're just getting started.
That's right, baby.
All right. Thank you guys so much. We'll see you next time. Bye.